Okay, so I'm happy to be here, to be able to speak to all of you. My name is Petra Rosenkrantz and I'm originally from Germany. And yes, we just heard from Ukraine and Tatiana about the situation there. And now I would like to invite you to make a big jump to a very different part of our earth, into the Arabic world, to Egypt. I started in 2014 here to build up further education for art. And so far, 48 women mainly went through this 2.5 years further education in art therapy. I started back then very enthusiastic and also very naively to introduce art therapy, which is totally unknown so far in Egypt. And I had the chance to accompany all these women mainly in their life and in their endeavors. And now I will make a direct jump into the scene, into the situation with them. I would like to share with you one of my main observations there. And this was, I still remember writing this into my diary often, that I had the impression that people don't take things properly into their hands. They kind of take it very loose. So in the very beginning, I had the impression maybe there is something wrong with their shoulders. Maybe I had the impression that this connection between the shoulders and the upper arm is not really working. And I was really wondering, what is this? Why are people not really grabbing things? Bit by bit, when I went deeper into the cultural situation, when I witnessed more and more of the cultural rituals and the whole situation in the society, and when I had the chance to really also build up trust between me and the students, I witnessed more and more their life, and I realized more and more that many different things happened, many different things they went through. One of them is, for example, that, no, I need to say something first of all still, sorry. I also realized in the artistic work, in the practical work we have been doing together, that they were also touching mainly things with their fingertips. So I observed this while working with the clay. They were also very often disgusted towards the clay. And also while drawing with the pastel crayons on the paper, they mainly used their fingertips. And also this had its peak in a way when we were doing blind walks outside and inside the room. I was confronted with a tremendous fear of being blindfolded and now going outside guided by another person and having the chance to touch trees, to touch stones, to touch the grass. So I came more and more to the observation that something is maybe not so much a problem with the shoulders as I thought back then, but mainly a problem of their sense of touch, which is deeply disturbed. While getting to know them better, and now I come back to the other point, I realized that many of them were abused, sexually abused within the family. This is something you meet here so often. And also, I realized the fact of circumcision, so FGM. So these 2 points I knew back then, I got to know, they made more and more clear to me that for sure the sense of touch is deeply disturbed. I also realized this while doing touch exercises, sometimes blindfolded, other times not. And as we all know, the sense of touch is our basic sense, and it's mirrored in the sense of self. So this made me really thinking. And as most of you also will know, this lack of sense of touch either leads to an oversensitiveness, or it leads also to a kind of dullness. So you either are super afraid of touching things, or you don't feel touch while touching things or while being touched. And all of this together made me more and more concentrating of this aspect, and made me creating different exercises which slowly would invite them to reactivate their sense of touch. To not feel oneself, to not be aware of one's borders, leads to not knowing oneself, to not sensing oneself, to not take oneself importance. And this for sure is also so much encouraged in a way by the hierarchy which we find in the society, and which we find here in so many parts of daily life, that there's always someone above me, there's always someone telling me what to do. While not knowing oneself, and this is what I experienced a lot with the students, they kind of clinch to a system, to rules, which are, how can I say this, which are promising security. And within this Arabic society, there are a lot of rules, what is allowed and what is forbidden. And so people and the students had a very rigid concept of what I can do and what I cannot do. And with all of this, they kind of lost to listen, or were unable actually to listen to their inner voices, to their inner voice, to listen to themselves. And if you don't know yourself, if you don't have a feeling for your body, if you don't integrate your body in your concept, in your daily life, you depend on the intellect. So people are very much living in their heads with clear ideas how life should be. But me as a person, me as a woman, I have actually no idea who I am. And maybe, Theodore, I could ask you now to show the first photo I prepared, because more and more I started to focus on modules which we would do in this 2.5 years, which would train the sense of touch. So I prepared a path with 12 bowls, starting with sand and then wool and stones and a silk cloth, a big one. And I prepared a dough, water, dust and dry leaves, flour, and warm water with a natural sponge in it. And now the next photo, please. And the students were blindfolded and went slowly through this path and had the possibility to dive into all these materials. And this led to, for some of them, to really deeply be touched, to actually crave for touch with others. So here we see a woman which took the flour after the dough and put it all over onto her body. And the next photo, please. And here is the unspunnen wool. And you can see in the face, around the mouth and the nose, and also the hand gesture, you can see how unfamiliar this is to touch. And at the same time, you can see with this woman here how much she is also enjoying this, to touch and at the same time to be touched. And the next photo, please. And here one of the participants, she even took the bowl down onto the floor and put her feet and her whole hands and everything into the flour and kind of really deeply immersed into this material. And the next photo. So, and this is a woman after the whole experience. The last experience is, the last bowl is one with very ice cold water. And then I receive them with a warm, dry towel and dry their hands very carefully. So here one can see how much she is touched, how much she is in herself, and also how much images come up in her. After this experience, I always give them the opportunity to stay on a cushion, to lean on the wall, and then later, once they feel like, to write down all their body reactions while going through this sense of touch path. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Theodore. So I mainly really focus on this sense of touch. And another aspect which is at the same time coming up is this holy, sacred moment of being seen. because this is something I realized within all these years, that there is so much need for them to be seen, to be realized. So as the education system here and also the life in the families is very often has a feature, a deep feature of not being seen, as an individual. It leads for sure to a deep need. It's so much missed that someone is there who would see me, who would realize me, who would help me to realize myself. And this is what I can say maybe now towards the end. This is something I try to work with them on, that they can see and sense themselves again, that they can get an interest for the world and for themselves again through the artistic work, which is happening in all the fields. I'm doing painting with them, clay modeling, we are doing singing, I'm even doing eurythmy with them, although I'm not a eurythmist. So that they have a new chance to incarnate and to overcome this humiliation, this daily humiliation they experience in life, so that they can take on their life again and overcome this, this traumatic experiences they went through. So to come into one's own strength again through artistic work.
Thank you, Petra. You're doing a marvelous job, and I'm grateful that you were volunteering to bring a contribution. And just remind the audience that at the beginning we invited everybody in the first email, do you have something you want to bring? Bring it. And that's today, it's our first step that we start to leave this our prepared conference. Now participants start to share, and in 4 weeks time or in 6 weeks time after Easter, we really want to start cooperating for those who want. Yeah, and what touched me when we prepared this talk was, you said it's burning at many points in the world, but it's also burning here, and it is not seen. Thank you for making us aware of it, Petra.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity.